Mr. Kos, you are in Chișinău to present one of the reports of the Anticorruption Committee on the financing of political parties and electoral campaigns. First of all, what are the main results of this report and how extended still is the illegal financing of parties in Moldova?
I have to say, let's say that when it comes to the legislative framework and the institutional setup which is tasked to monitor the financing of political parties and election campaigns, Moldova has reached the standards which can be easily applied also in the European Union. The problem which Moldova has is that Moldova is exposed to much more serious risks in this area than any of the countries of the European Union. You have, let's say, people with vested interests which are trying to seek, let's say, cover through political parties. You have war raging in the neighborhood. You have attempts, let's say, of countries close to Moldova to interfere into the Moldovan elections. So Moldova is still exposed to serious risks to which none of the, let's say, European Union member states is exposed. There are some things which Moldova will have to do which are not only related to political financing. And this is, let's say, to deal with the de-oligarchization process, to give, let's say, your intelligence services the powers to scrutinize foreign interference into the political financing in Moldova. Then, let's say, to introduce some solutions in the criminal code which will put, let's say, this fight against illegal financing even at a higher level.
The Shore Party was recently banned in Moldova because of receiving money from abroad, illegal money, to promote the interest of Ilan Shore and to seize the power in the state. From your point of view, is this way here to ban a party an appropriate way to fight with illegal financing of political parties?
You see, political parties are the essence of any democratic system. So banning a political party is always the last resort, the ultima ratio of any country. And I feel unfortunate that it happened, but I am also sure that the government also felt unfortunate when it launched the procedure at the Constitutional Court, and that also Constitutional Court felt unfortunate when they had to do it. But you know, Shore Party was really pushing the boundaries of everything legal when it comes to financing political parties. I'm sure that Shore Party will, let's say, challenge the decision at the European Court of Human Rights, and we will see what will happen there. But I would say this is an unfortunate situation, but it was provoked by the Shore Party itself.
Illegal financing of this party, of Shore Party, was under investigation for, I don't know, maybe more than a year. But still, the law enforcement officers, they were unable to stop the flow of the money from abroad that came to the party. So now, what should be done to avoid the situation in which Ilan Shore can direct and can transfer this flow to his new political project, for example?
Well, a lot has been done with the last changes of the, let's say, political party financing legislation in 2022, which entered into force in January. Your politicians are very innovative in circumventing the rules. So I'm sure this will happen now again. But this time, hopefully also the CEC, but also the law enforcement officials have also learned their lessons, and they know how the politicians are doing the circumvention. And back to your question, of course, Shore can establish a new political party now. But more or less, I'm sure he will follow the same patterns. If he does this, he will follow the same patterns as he did with the previous party. And those patterns are known now. So let's say your officials, the state officials, basically should know what to do.
Another political party, the Socialist Party, is investigated for illegal financing. So it is, I don't know, at least two parties now that they are investigating for this kind of financing. So my question will be, what will be the, I don't know, the fastest and the best measure to apply for these parties, for example, to stop this kind of financing, because the elections are approaching in Moldova?
Now, first of all, I have to say that, let's say, there are not so many countries which would engage so seriously on on investigations of illegal financing. Let's say in my country, Slovenia, when we are members of the European Union from 2004, nobody even dared to investigate any illegal financing. There were clear cases of illegal financing of political parties. So Moldova here is doing things which many of EU countries are not doing. What to do? Let's say, I would not speak about how quick things should be investigated. No, investigations have to follow certain orders, but what it has to be done, it has to be proven that those parties are really breaching the provisions in place, and then they have to be sanctioned. And of course, since, let's say, those illegal financing has a direct impact on the upcoming elections, I would expect, let's say, that the law enforcement agencies and the CEC would engage all the resources they have to bring these investigations to an end as quick as possible, but with solid evidence, solid proof.
President Maia Sandu proposed to create an anti-corruptional court here in Moldova, and how appropriate will be the creation of this kind of court here in our country?
Well, in my life, I saw many countries doing this. I would say that in some countries it worked. Let's say in Ukraine, it worked. But of course, under the condition that the judges of such a court are selected in a very rigorous meritocratic procedure, meaning that that means Moldova, will really get the best possible judges to sit in this specialized court. Moldova is really fighting with serious systemic, or somebody call it endemic corruption, which means the solutions which should be applied are not the simple ones which we can apply in some other countries of the European Union. So this is a possible solution, which I think right now has some merits. If the judges will be selected, and if you will really get the best judges to sit in this court, then things will improve. Because what we see now, and I see this on a daily basis, that the police is doing its job. Not only the police, all the anti-corruption authorities. You have a bunch of anti-corruption authorities in this country. The prosecution, it's trying to follow up, but when things slow down, it's the judiciary. So that's why I understand the reasoning of the president, that she said, well, if things cannot be handled by the regular judiciary, let's try with the special court. It worked. It works in Ukraine. So hopefully it will work here too.
Another report from your committee, entitled Offshore Republic, says that the Republic of Moldova should be more vigilant than ever in its fight with corruption, which has become more dangerous in this very, very turbulent time. And you are speaking there also about the impact of the war in Ukraine. So can you explain a little bit more what do you mean by saying that?
No, the war in the neighborhood, of course, exposed Moldova to additional risk, the additional danger, which is that, let's say, that Moldova can serve as an area of interest for some countries engaged in the war, or even as a safe haven for individuals and companies and politicians from those countries engaged in the war. Which means that you're not only dealing with Moldovan corrupt individuals, but you can, well, I can say that you're already dealing with corrupt individuals from abroad, which are trying to use Moldova, and Moldova is still a country which lives in peace. They will try to use Moldova for their purposes. So it's not only the domestic guys which are being danger to the whole system of Moldova. You also have the foreign countries, governments, but also, let's say, foreign individuals trying to misuse Moldova for their purposes. And that's why Moldova has to be extremely careful now. It has to be extremely sensitive now that it doesn't fall under the influence of those external forces too.
From the perspective of your personal experience, what from the realities of fighting with corruption in Moldova maybe surprised you the more in this time, in these 2 years, we can say? What
really surprised me, I have to say, I found I never saw so qualified bad guys as I met here in Moldova. It means that your corrupt guys in Moldova are knowledgeable, experienced. They are not afraid to do anything to achieve their goals, from corruption to direct threats. So I have to say, sometimes even had to admire your corrupt guys in the sense that what they're willing and able to achieve. But on the other hand, that means, of course, that we all together, we have to establish the system which will also be willing to and able to cope, to fight those guys. We're not dealing with, let's say, the ordinary corrupt individuals which you can find in any country in the world. No, we are dealing with extremely intelligent and dangerous individuals which are not only, let's say, working for their private interests. In the way they do it, they're threatening the existence of the political system of Moldova, the existence of financial system of Moldova. Basically, they're threatening the existence of Moldova itself. They don't care about your country. All they care is about their own interests.
So when you are saying bad guys, but smart guys who are doing corruption in Moldova, about who are you thinking?
Oh, those are the names which everybody in this country knows. I'm speaking about Plahotniuc, I'm speaking about Platon, I'm speaking about Dodon. So those are the names which of individuals which are extremely capable, but because of their interests which they want to impose over the interests of the country, also extremely dangerous for the existence of the country. And why? Because they use, let's say, the democratic system. They use the system of political parties to enter the political system of the country, allegedly to fight for their democratic rights. They're not their democratic rights, they're their personal interests, which are sometimes not even their personal interests, but the interests of some other countries.